Okay, so and it's great to be here and to be here giving an update on Android TV for the third year. I remember I was here 2 years ago giving a much shorter update on Android TV, and the momentum we've seen in the last couple of years has been amazing, and that's, I think, down to a lot of people in this room and in the industry who've supported us along the way. But our topic today is putting the operator at the heart of the home, and we've heard, I think, a really useful phrase several times already around that point of integration. A point of integration and the role of the pay TV operator as an aggregator, as a curator, and that role being kind of onset from all sorts of different sides by other threats, by other sources of content, other sources of entertainment, other people competing for that role at the center of the home. And what we are looking to do with Android TV is really to help operators to stay relevant and to stay in that role as the point of integration, as the aggregator, as the center of the home. So we look to provide technologies, an operating system, Google services that we think can support the operator to continue to play that role. So that's obviously the Android operating system itself, which an operator can take and build on top of and build whatever experience they like, still be as flexible and nimble as they used to be and build whatever they want to, but hopefully get to market faster, access all those resources of Android developers, build smarter, better services on top of Android. It's also a set of Google services that we think can add lots of value and help an operator to deliver the range of services that customers now expect in their living room. So that's the Play Store, which immediately means operators can get 4,000 third-party apps on their set-top box without any other integration costs and start to integrate those apps into their service. It's obviously also the best possible YouTube experience, which is really becoming a hygiene factor for pay TV services now. It's Chromecast to provide that link to mobile devices that can again mean you stay relevant with a portion of the audience that likes to search and find things on their mobile. And it's voice, being able to put the power of the Google Assistant behind an operator's media catalog. So a completely customized, controlled version of the Assistant designed for operators living on an operator set-top box. That means you can have the best possible voice UX to help your customers get to services. And the Assistant also obviously links into another theme we've heard a few times already today around the smart home, or as people at Google seem to like to call it, the thoughtful home. And the Assistant as that unifying interface, that connective tissue between media and entertainment, but also comfort and control, home security, the whole range of smart home and Internet of Things activities that, again, provide a point of integration for an operator, where they can play a role that's more and more central in the way that the house operates, increase the stickiness we heard about earlier, reduce churn, deliver more devices, more services, customers more dependent on them, and really cementing that role at the center of the home. And what we're looking to do with Android TV is put the Assistant in the control of the operator in service of that goal. So where are we in the market with Android TV? So we are growing rapidly, doubling year on year in terms of the numbers of activations, working with a very wide range of smart TV OEMs now and really scaling up fast on that side. And of course, working with all of the major set-top box vendors. Lots of projects now with Aris, which is really great to see all over the world. And in the pay TV landscape, as I mentioned when I was here 2 years ago, I think we would have had about 14 pay TV operator partners. We like to use the phrase 10x at Google as well somehow. And it's quite nice that in 2 years we've gone 10x in the number of pay TV operators we're working with. We expect to be launched with about 130, 140 partners by the end of the year, 60 or 70 of which being here in EMEA. And a really rich and diverse range of partners within that. So traditional satellite operators with hybrid boxes and conditional access security and PVRs like Canal Digital in the Nordics and KT Skylife in Korea. Cable operators like Comhem in Sweden. We'll hear from James next talking about Comhem's Android TV partnership. And United down in Serbia. And of course, IP-powered services like Bouygues in France, LGU in Korea, and then a range of OTT offerings, like our partnership with Vodafone in Germany, with DirecTV in the US, with Orange in Spain. So a really wide range of services, devices being built on top of Android TV that brings to life one of the things we're trying to do. We're trying to take care of that foundation, all of the elements that don't really contribute towards an operator's differentiation. We can take care of it with the Android platform and allow operators to focus their time, their effort, their resources on the differentiating services that means customers buy from them, and all of the things we've been talking about, all of those points of integration that deliver value to customers. So I want to touch on 5 different areas in the rest of this talk today, which are all of those different points of integration, all those different aggregation points, all those different areas where we think as Android TV we can provide technologies and services to help operators stay relevant. Of course, we'll be getting into more detail on lots of these areas later this afternoon, where we have a 90-minute Android TV workshop. So there'll be some bits of this that I might skip through a little bit more quickly. If you're able to attend the workshop later on, it'll be great. You'll be hearing less from Google and more from partners, which I always think is a brilliant thing. So I would encourage you all to attend that if you want to hear a bit more about some of these elements and about Android TV. So firstly, the assistant. Clearly a very, very big priority for Google. We believe the best voice technology in the world, and we're bringing it to operators and to Android TV and to many, many markets this year. So we're launched in lots of markets already, the US, UK, France, Japan, Korea, Germany, Spain, Australia, and we're launching many, many more markets this year. So we'll have very good coverage across all major EMEA markets by the end of the year. What that means is that the voice interface on an Android TV set-top box gains a whole load of extra superpowers, a whole load of extra capabilities, meaning that we can really start to deliver the complete voice UX for TV customers. So being able to jump straight into content, being able just to say what you want and play it immediately, being able to control your device controls if you want to, rewind and pause, and then being able to control your Internet of Things devices, smart home, the lights, and then, of course, everything that you can do on another Google Assistant device, like a smart speaker, Google Home, or a mobile. Access third-party services, ask questions, get all of that rich extra data, cast and crew and information, metadata about what you might be watching on the television. So all of that is great and can enable us to really deliver some voice user journeys that customers really find quite magical when they get to try them and continue using them. So, and of course, what we can do on an operator set-top box is put the operator right at the center of those journeys. So although it's the assistant application, what we do is we give the operator complete control of what's presented back through that app. So Google doesn't take any control over the search results that you see when you first do an assistant query. So for example, if I was watching TV and I said, "What's good tonight?" it's completely down to the operator to suggest what they want. The operator can suggest whatever content they like here, from the PVR, from live TV, from on-demand, it could be pay-per-view, completely down to the operator, involving no interaction with Google. We don't need to know about your catalog, we don't need anything. We have a cloud-to-cloud connection that enables you to deliver all of this information, metadata, badging, visuals, calls to action, and have complete control over what gets presented to the customer. But using the Google Voice technology to execute that. And of course, I might just jump in and play Game of Thrones, and then we play that on the TV behind. Of course, with the assistant, it opens up more partnership opportunities for operators too. So there's a whole other range of devices that we have operators looking at ranging from first-party Google devices, third-party assistant devices, also operator-branded devices with the assistant on. And then, of course, lots of works with solutions. A huge, huge number of partners integrate with the Google Assistant for IoT and smart home, giving you the opportunity to bundle and distribute and really become that point of integration for smart home. Moving on to flexibility. As I mentioned earlier on, what we're trying to do with Android is support operators in still having all of the flexibility that they need and all of the customization that they need to deliver their services. This is why we brought in the operator tier, which of course Sasha was one of the main architects of. In this form of Android TV, the operator has full control of the UX. So the operator builds their own custom launcher. You don't have to take any launcher or any UI from Google. So the variety of services you see out there will look completely different to the end user. They're all built on top of Android, but all completely different services, all completely different UIs and UXs. Enabling operators to really deliver whatever they need for their market, for their customers. And we hope also now we're building on top of Android with clear abstraction layers between the UI and elements further down the stack, that you can start to treat your launcher, treat your UI as you would treat your application on a mobile phone. To iterate it, roll out new versions every day if you want to. When the Olympics starts, completely reskin your UI for the Olympics and power in some extra Olympics content and data. Promote a different app on a different day of the week to a different customer. Start to treat your application, your UI on your television set-top box in the same way you treat your app on an Android phone. And the same level of flexibility and prioritization applies within the assistant as well. So this, again, just another example of how we prioritize the operator results within the assistant UX. And the first set of results you see all being completely controlled and customized by the operator. The third thing I wanted to touch on was device options. We see many operators around the world, particularly those operators with the resources and the size and the premium positioning to do it, starting to invest in new device form factors, new devices, operated devices to ship to their customers. And we really hope that with Android TV, we can make that a lot easier for a much larger range of operators for whom these sorts of soundbar projects, projector projects might be a real challenge from an investment point of view. Because we're building on top of Android, the same app could be your launcher on a dedicated set-top box. It could also be an app on a Sony TV, and it could also be powering the experience on a soundbar. So we have several partners with soundbars in development, also things like short-throw projectors, any sort of a device with a visual output. You could imagine porting your Android services and your Android app onto it and turning it into an operator device. Including TVs, of course. We have operators interested in doing their own TVs, quite a compelling proposition in markets where maybe the upfront cost of a TV is quite a lot. So spreading that over the length of a contract could become a really interesting proposition for an operator to partner with a TV OEM. And then right down to the other end of the spectrum, Sasha mentioned dongles. Lots and lots of operators interested in much more cost-efficient, simple OTT dongle devices, being able to ship them as a secondary kind of multi-room solution to extend your range outside of a cable footprint, for example, or offer something different with a different packaging and pricing and bundling proposition to a different demographic. We kind of saw this trend and saw this need from all of our operator partners, and we decided, how can we make it as simple as we possibly can for operators? So we've invested in what we call a turnkey approach. So this is some hardware pre-certified by Google, working with content partners as well, that we kind of will source and spec and do the QA with manufacturers. Upgrades and security patches all taken care of by Google. As an operator, all you do is build your app. So this really means you can get to market in no time at all, and you just iterate and work on your app. You don't need to worry about the platform in any way. The device customizes to the operator during first-time setup, and to the customer, the end user, feels like a completely 100% controlled operator device. Boots into the operator service, a dedicated operator button on the remote, full assistant prioritization and control. So we're really hoping this will enable lots of operators to very, very quickly and easily extend into OTT, be able to offer a different device with the same level of control and customization, but no work to do under the UI. The fourth area I wanted to touch on, because I've only got a couple of minutes left, so I will speed up for the last couple of sections, is feature innovations. We really hope that there's a lot of things within the Android platform and within the Google services we deliver that can help operators build new user journeys, cross-device user journeys, second screen experiences, these sorts of things that provide more of that point of integration into all of the different devices that people use, and provide some of those magical user journeys that people really love and may mean that people kind of really get a lot of value out of a product. So just as a few examples, we have Chromecast built into every Android TV device, giving you that immediate second screen experience. We, of course, have the Assistant, meaning that first-party Google Home speakers, third-party Assistant speakers can function with the set-top box as a far-field mic. So you can see the sorts of cross-device journeys that we can enable. So, of course, as an operator, you could be shipping Internet of Things devices, smart home devices, along with your service, setting up a system with far-field microphone delivered off a speaker, so that when the customer starts watching a movie, we can just turn on movie mode and adapt the living room environment. You see how we're kind of extending the operator range of services into more devices, into delivering more value. And then, of course, if you've forgotten actually that the game's on that you wanted to watch, we can extend that into the phone, and still the operator being the point of integration between the phone, the speaker, and the TV, and be able to use a notification, which of course can work on iOS as well as Android, to pop up the game on the screen and then deliver a second screen experience on the phone. The operator really dominating more attention and delivering more value. And then, of course, you could use the Assistant to share that even outside of the home. So to be able to ask the Assistant to share it with a friend, add a little message, and then all of a sudden be popping up that same experience on somebody's mobile phone all the way over on the other side of the world.
2 minutes, Edward.
2 minutes? Very good. I think that's going to be just about right. And of course into the car as well. There'll be many, many cars rolling off the production lines with Android Auto built in, many people using the Android Auto app. The same frameworks, the same technologies allow operators to build services to connect these things and again, be that point of integration, even with a role to play when the customer's in the car. So if you're running late, getting home, being able just to ask Google in your car to tell your set-top box to record the game. And then a final example with Nest. The Nest Hello doorbell has a great Android TV integration. If somebody's at the door, you'll be able to use the assistant to show the picture of the front door. And then if you've got a smart lock, even let them into your house. I mean, as an operator, if you're delivering and adding value in all of these different places, your service is really getting extremely sticky, and you're delivering a lot of value to your customers. And the final section, we've talked quite a bit about this already. Clearly, we don't need anybody in 2019 to say that there's a massive proliferation of content out there, both in terms of series being commissioned and broadcast, and also in terms of direct-to-consumer apps, multiple services. And we see part of our role as Android TV is to enable bringing all of this content into an operator set-top box, but in a way that you can control and in a way that you can partner with those services and integrate them within your offering. So being able to bring in all of those apps through the Play Store, and instead of having to choose maybe 1 or 2 apps a year that you want to partner with because you've got a 6-month project to integrate it, you could start thinking about, instead of 1 or 2, I could do 10 or 20. Integrate those into the way I package and bundle, preload them on my set-top box, and have my own commercial relationships with those players, bringing all of that content onto my device, meaning that customers no longer need to go to another device, no longer need to switch away from HDMI 1 to find the content that they really want to watch. And of course, what can come with that and alongside that is advertising opportunities. Again, as a point of integration in the home, the operator has a role to play in advertising, perhaps through its own UI, with promotional inventory, home screen monetization, and then also with broadcaster partners, with VOD and linear ad insertion. Again, these are cases where Google, we can provide the technology, we can provide the frameworks, and we can let operators build on top of that with the commercial partnerships, with the monetization that they need. So just to sum up, 5 points we went through: partnering with the assistant to be at the center of the smart home, keeping full control of that UI with Android TV operator tier, considering new devices, new form factors that you can expand into, cross-device UX, being where your customers are and really delivering against that promise and being that point of integration on other devices too, and then bringing all of that content and that ads proposition to keep your users on HDMI 1.
Thank you.